Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to be diving into First Nephi 18.
Yes.
It's a pretty incredible chapter in the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
And it's all about this journey, right? This journey that Nephi and his family took to a promised land.
To the promised land.
It's a good one.
I think what's really cool about it is it's not just like an ancient story, you know? It's got all these insights into like faith and resilience and obedience that I think are like super relevant to our lives today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm excited to kind of dig into this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what always gets me is how this chapter starts.
Yeah.
Like just right off the bat.
Yeah.
We have God commanding Nephi and his family to build a ship.
A ship.
A ship.
Yeah.
Like in the wilderness, no less.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
Right? I mean, can you imagine?
It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
okay, so here's the blueprint.
here's the blueprint. Figure it out.
Now go figure it out.
Right. And here's the thing. Nephi had no experience in shipbuilding.
Like zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Right.
This is not his forte at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that lesson about trusting in unconventional guidance really comes in.
Yeah, for sure.
We see in verse 1 that Nephi begins building the ship after the manner which the Lord had shown unto him. So he's not relying on his own understanding the ways of the world. He's going straight to
tapping into something.
Higher wisdom.
Yeah. It's like he's saying, okay, I'm going to trust this blueprint.
Yeah.
Even if it
doesn't make sense right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that takes a ton of faith, especially when you're surrounded by people.
Oh, yeah.
Who are like, are you crazy?
Yeah, totally. We see even Nephi's brothers, Laman and Lemuel, were like, you know, are you skeptical? Our brother's a fool.
Yeah.
He thinks he can build a ship.
Right. And we see them complaining about this in verse 3.
Verse 3.
Yeah. And you know what?
Yeah.
I think that's so relatable.
Oh, for sure.
Because, I mean, how many times have we all had that, like, feeling of doubt?
Yes.
You know, when we're trying to follow something that feels a little bit outside of...
That's outside of the norm, out of the box.
Absolutely. It's like, maybe this is not the right
way to go.
Yeah.
Am I crazy for thinking I could do this?
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Nephi doesn't let those doubts stop him.
He pushes forward. He keeps going.
He keeps going.
Yeah.
He keeps his eye on the prize, on that vision that God has given him.
That God has given him,
And I think that is a powerful, huge message.
Yeah, message for us.
It's like when you feel that pull towards something.
You
know, when you feel
like
to
silence the critics.
God is kind of nudging you in a direction.
The inner critics and the outer critics. Yeah.
Got to be willing to just tune out the noise.
Absolutely. And the next detail in the story really emphasizes God's abundance.
Okay.
Like Nephi's family gathers all these provisions, seeds and fruits and honey and meat.
They take everything.
Everything they'll need to start a new life, you know?
It says it all in verse 6.
Verse 6. It paints this beautiful picture
of
God saying, like, I'm going to bless you beyond measure. I'm going to give you everything you need to go on this journey.
Setting them up. For success.
For success, absolutely.
Yeah. And it makes you think, you know, what are the seeds that God has kind of planted in our lives, right?
Yeah. What are the talents and the resources and even the challenges that we have that have the potential to
flourish,
to become something amazing,
to blossom into something?
Yeah, totally.
Amazing.
Right. And I think that's a great question for all of us to ask ourselves. Like, are we nurturing those seeds?
Yeah. Are we taking care of them?
Are we paying attention to
just recognizing the abundance is already there?
That's already there.
And are we using it to create something beautiful?
Yeah. It's a great point. So we have this incredible ship, right?
We do.
We've got all these provisions.
We got all the supplies.
We've got this sense of purpose, this divine
purpose. Yep.
Purpose.
You'd think it'd be smooth sailing from here, right?
Smooth sailing from here.
You would think.
But as we all know,
human nature gets in the way. Oh, it does.
And that's exactly what happens in this story.
It does.
Right. After weeks at sea.
Some of the people in the group start to kind of like forget about God's miracles.
They do. They forget.
They start to lose sight of.
Yeah, and they start acting out, right?
With a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And
it's like they start getting unruly.
We see this in verse 9.
Verse 9. It says, they did begin to be exceedingly boisterous.
Oh, wow.
Insomuch that they did forget by what power they had been brought thither, they were lifted up unto exceeding rudeness.
So they're basically forgetting God's power.
Yeah, they're getting ungrateful.
They're becoming ungrateful. And they're letting this kind of negativity.
The negativity is taking over.
Take over.
Yeah.
And this shift in attitude,
Yeah.
It has some pretty serious consequences.
It does.
Right.
It is.
Because Nephi sees this behavior.
Yeah.
He tries to correct them.
Yeah. He's like, hey, guys.
But his brothers,
right.
Laman and Lemuel, they're like,
well, nope.
Not having it. They turn against him. They bind him.
And
basically tell him.
And tell him to be quiet.
To be quiet.
Yeah.
It's like, you can read about this.
It's heartbreaking in a way.
It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you see, Nephi's just trying to...
Yeah, he's trying to guide them.
Guide them back. He's speaking truth, even though it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And they're rejecting it.
And they don't want to hear it.
Right. And it takes a lot of courage to stand up for what's right.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when
you're facing opposition.
People you love, right?
From people you love.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's something we can all relate to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Whether it's in our families, our workplaces, or even our everyday interactions, there are times when we're called to speak up.
Yeah.
Even when it's hard. And, sometimes...
Even when it's hard.
Those moments require us to be willing to stand alone.
Yeah.
And we see that with Nephi. He doesn't back down.
He doesn't back down.
Oh.
Even though he's outnumbered, yeah.
He's facing physical restraint. He's tied up.
Yeah.
And his commitment to truth has this direct impact on the journey. Because as soon as they bind Nephi, the compass, which was divinely provided to guide them, stops working.
Oh, wow.
It literally ceases to function.
So they're literally losing their direction.
They lose their direction.
The moment they silence the voice of truth. And they reject God's guidance.
The moment they reject that guidance. And to make matters worse...
Yeah, what happens next?
A huge storm hits.
A storm!
Oh, no!
And the ship is driven back.
So they're going backwards now.
For days, they're going backwards. They're getting further and further away from where they're supposed to be going.
Wow. It's like a spiritual GPS.
It is.
Gone.
It's a spiritual GPS gone haywire.
Haywire.
And it makes you wonder... What are those subtle drifts?
Ooh, good question.
That we're making in our own lives.
Yeah.
That are taking us further away from where we want to be.
Where we want to be, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question.
What are those subtle drifts?
What are those subtle drifts?
And what steps can we take?
Course correct.
To get back on track.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is the question.
That's a good one. We'll be right back.
It's so easy, right, to get caught up in life.
Oh, yeah.
And forget about that inner compass.
Right.
But just like Nephi needed that compass to guide the ship, we need to be mindful of the principles and the values that keep us on course.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that compass stops working when Nephi's brothers, they take over.
Take charge.
It's almost like it's not just a physical tool, but it's a representation of being in alignment. Spiritual alignment,
Right, exactly.
As long as Nephi is at the helm, guided by the Spirit, they're going in the right direction. Yeah. But when his brothers, who are driven by fear and negativity, take over, they literally lose their way.
They literally lose their way.
So it wasn't just enough to have the compass.
Right, exactly.
They had to be in tune with that divine guidance.
Yeah, absolutely.
That it represented. And it makes me think like, what are the compasses that we rely on in our own lives?
Yeah.
What are those
values?
Values or beliefs that we kind of use to navigate our decisions?
It's different for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
For some people, it might be their faith.
Yeah.
Or a strong moral code, or even just like a deep intuition that guides them. But what matters is that we're aware of what keeps us grounded.
What keeps us grounded,
aligned with our truest selves.
And just like Nephi had to make constant adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the sails and to the rudder to kind of stay on course.
Yeah.
We have to actively engage with our own compasses.
All the time.
As well.
Right.
Right. It's not enough to just...
You can't just set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
Right.
Yeah, life throws us curveballs.
Life throws curveballs all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it means making tough choices.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facing uncomfortable truths or letting go of things that no longer serve us.
Right, exactly.
I heard this quote the other day, and it really resonated with me.
Oh, yeah.
It said that the smallest step in the right direction can be the biggest step of your life.
Yeah. I like that one.
And it's so true because sometimes it takes a lot of courage to just make that small adjustment.
It does. It does. It takes courage to step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. But remember, Nephi ultimately reached the promised land.
He did. He got there.
And we can reach our goals too when we stay connected to our inner compass and we make those necessary course corrections.
Absolutely. So we've talked about the storms in the compass and the importance of staying on course.
Yeah.
But what about the destination? Like, what does the promised land represent?
Yeah, what does it represent in our lives?
In our own lives, yeah.
I think it's that place of fulfillment.
Yeah.
That sense of peace and abundance that I think we all long for.
It's that place where we can really thrive.
But thrive.
Right.
It's the culmination of our efforts.
Yeah.
The realization of our dreams.
Yeah, totally.
But it's not necessarily a physical place.
Right.
Right. It's more of a state of being.
Yeah.
It's arriving.
It's arriving, yeah.
You're aligned with your purpose.
You're connected to something bigger than yourself.
Yes.
And you're experiencing a deep sense of peace.
Exactly. And I think what's so beautiful about this story is that it highlights that the journey is just as important as the destination.
Yeah, it's about the growth.
It's about what you learn along the way.
Yeah.
Along the way, yeah.
It's in those challenges and the setbacks, even in the moments of despair, that we grow and become who we're meant to be.
It's so true because it's not about bypassing the difficult parts of life, right?
Yeah.
It's about learning to navigate them.
Yes, absolutely.
With grace.
With grace and resilience.
And resilience, yeah.
Yeah.
Because those challenges...
They shape us.
They shape us, yeah.
They really do.
And something that really struck me is like the contrast between Nephi and his brothers.
Right.
They're on the same journey.
They are.
Facing the same challenges.
Yeah.
But their reactions are so different.
So different, right.
And it really highlights the power of choice.
Yeah.
And how our attitude can really shape our experiences despite all the hardships.
Yeah.
Nephi chooses to focus on God's goodness.
He does.
Yeah.
And he trusts in his plan.
Yeah, and trusts in his plan, whereas the brothers allow fear and negativity to cloud their judgment.
Absolutely. And those choices have this ripple effect.
They do.
Don't they?
Yeah.
Like Nephi's faith eventually inspires.
It inspires,
his brothers to repent and change.
Yeah, yeah. So we have that power.
We do.
To inspire others.
We all do, right?
Yeah.
Our words and our actions, even our unspoken attitudes can have a huge impact on those around us.
It really makes you think, like, am I contributing to...
Yeah. What are you putting out there?
A more positive environment?
Yeah.
Or am I just bringing everybody down?
Right.
It's something to really reflect on.
It is. And, you know, when we think about Nephi's journey, all the challenges he faced, it's important to remember that even when he reached the promised land, the journey wasn't over.
Right. It keeps going.
There were still going to be new obstacles and new lessons to learn, new chapters to be written.
Yeah. It's the beauty of life, right?
That is the beauty of life. It's an ongoing adventure.
It's an ongoing adventure.
And we'll be back to talk more about that adventure in the final part.
Okay, awesome. Welcome back, everybody. We've been talking about this awesome story from 1 Nephi 18, and it just keeps coming back to me, you know?
Yeah.
That idea that it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey.
It's about the journey.
Absolutely.
It's both, right?
Yeah. You know, you read this chapter and you think, okay, they had some challenges.
Right.
But ultimately, happy ending, got to the promised land.
Right. Everything's good.
Worked out.
Right.
But I think there's more to it than that.
I think so too.
I think there's a deeper layer that we got to look at.
Yeah, it's almost like the challenges they faced were like super important.
Yeah, I think so too.
To their growth and development.
Absolutely, like to prepare them.
Yeah, and to prepare them for the promised land.
It's like it wasn't just about...
It wasn't about just getting there.
Getting there.
Right. It was about what they learned and how they grew along the way.
Yeah, it's about navigating those storms.
Exactly.
And coming out stronger on the other side.
Yeah. Think about Nephi's faith.
Right.
Tested time and time again throughout this whole journey.
Oh, yeah.
He's bound by his brothers.
Yeah.
He's got to endure that crazy storm.
Right.
He's facing doubt, opposition, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, but all of that...
But you know what?
It shaped him, right?
It refined him.
It refined him. Yeah.
It made him stronger.
Yeah.
It deepened his reliance on God.
And it prepared him for those responsibilities.
It did. Like all of those trials prepared him to lead, to be the leader he needed to be.
It's like those challenges really revealed his true potential, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a powerful lesson for all of us.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think about adversity as like a negative thing.
Right.
Something we want to avoid.
You want to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
Stay away.
At all costs.
But what if it's not? What if those difficult experiences are actually
opportunities?
Opportunities. For growth.
For growth and transformation.
Yeah. It's not happening to us.
Right.
It's happening for us.
Yeah. That's it's
a shifting perspective, isn't it?
It's a total shift in perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It's recognizing those challenges. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're tough, but ultimately they're shaping us.
They're making us better.
Making us stronger.
Yeah, they're making us into the people.
More resilient.
More resilient that we're meant to be.
The best versions of ourselves.
Right.
Right. And it's not about pretending.
Right.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
We all go through hard things.
We all do.
But it's about acknowledging the struggle, but also seeing that potential for growth.
Yeah, totally. It's like finding that balance between acknowledging the hardship and holding on to hope.
Exactly.
And I think that's where faith comes in.
That's where faith comes in.
It's that unwavering belief.
Right.
That even when you're in the middle of that storm.
Yep. Even in the storm.
There's a bigger plan.
There's a plan.
And we can trust in that plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And that we're not alone.
Yeah, we're not alone.
We're being guided.
We're being guided, yeah.
We're being supported.
It's about surrendering to that higher wisdom.
Surrendering to that higher wisdom.
Yeah, even when
we don't fully understand it.
I don't get it.
We don't get it.
Yeah, remember Nephi didn't have all the answers?
Nope.
When he started building that ship.
Yeah, he just trusted the
blueprint.
The blueprint. He took it
one step.
One step at a time.
And
I think that's such an important reminder for us.
Yeah, that's huge.
It is. Like, we don't have to have it all figured out.
We don't.
Right.
We just have to take
that step.
That first step.
That leap of faith.
Yeah.
And trust.
And it's all going to work out.
It's all going to work out. And, even when they reached the promised land, it wasn't over.
It wasn't over.
Life is an ongoing.
It keeps going.
Adventure. There's always new challenges, new things to learn, new chapters to be written.
Right. So as we wrap up our discussion today on 1 Nephi 18, what are some key takeaways?
Ooh, some key takeaways that we can all remember.
I think one of the big ones is that power of trusting in divine guidance.
Trusting in that divine guidance, yeah.
Even when
it's tough.
It doesn't make sense. Just surrendering to that higher wisdom and having faith. That's going to lead you where you need to be.
That it'll all work out, yeah.
It's all going to work out. And secondly, I think it's important to remember to just
embrace the journey.
The
ups, the downs, all of it. Those challenges.
The good, the bad.
They're not there to break us.
Yeah.
They're there to make us stronger.
To make us stronger.
You make us better.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think the journey doesn't end.
It doesn't end.
When we reach a goal.
When we hit that milestone.
Or a destiny, right.
Yeah.
Life is ongoing.
It's always continuing.
It is.
Yeah.
There are always going to be new horizons and new lessons and new opportunities for growth.
So let's step out in faith.
Yes.
Embrace the journey.
Embrace the journey.
And trust that we're being guided every step of the way.
Every step of the way.